For more on all of this, we can bring in our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons. Rob, to say they're dropping like flies is an understatement. What happens now?
Well, for the moment at least, Boris Johnson doesn't look as though he's going to resign. Speaking yesterday in front of the liaison committee of the House of Commons, and he was grilled by the heads of committees in the House of Commons, he appeared supremely confident. He was not clearly going to go anywhere despite all the criticism. But, with every passing hour, the number of people resigning, as you've just pointed out, over 50 ministers and aides have now resigned, is adding up, and the pressure clearly is going to grow in him. At the moment, he still has the support of some of the big hitters in the party, like the Foreign Secretary, Defence Secretary, and Jacob Rees-Mogg. Close allies who, at least for the moment, is staying loyal, but who knows, the more this goes on. He is quite clearly going to tough this out. So that leaves the Conservative Party members in the House of Commons with some pretty tough choices. At the moment, it looks like the 1922 committee, which is the body of non-ministerial Conservative MPs, and which chooses the leader, it looks like they're going to have an election for a new executive on Monday. The likelihood is that it will change the rules regarding votes of confidence in the Prime Minister. At the moment, the ruling is that if you've had a vote of confidence, you can't have a second one within a year. Bear in mind that 6 weeks ago, there was a vote of confidence. Boris Johnson won it, although 140 MPs voted against him. So as things stand, as the rules stand, there shouldn't be another vote of confidence for approximately another year. They're going to change the rules almost certainly to make it possible. The question then is, what will they do? Will they go immediately for a vote of confidence? Will they gather sufficient courage, in other words, to do so?
Because they need to receive those letters, a sufficient number of letters to trigger that vote.
Absolutely. And that clearly is the risk for Boris Johnson at the moment. His riposte to that will be, look, without me, you're not going to win an election.
I want to ask you about this point because all these people keep telling the Prime Minister it's time to go. Now we have the new Finance Minister who was disappointed on Tuesday, might I add. Yeah. It is Thursday today. He was telling the Prime Minister, you got to go. It seems like Boris Johnson in his head thinks he's the only one who can do this job.
Yeah, I mean, he sees himself almost as in a presidential role. It's interesting. He keeps saying that, look, I was elected. All these millions of people voted for me. We've got a huge majority in the House of Commons, 80 MPs. But he forgets that the British system of government is not a presidential system. You elect a party. Yep. The party chooses you as its leader. That's what's happened. He sees it differently as far as he's concerned. Without his charisma, and this is possibly correct, without his charisma, they mightn't have won the election. But the problem, I think, now for the Conservatives is that they face a genuine crisis. If he decides that he's, for instance, if he decides he's going to dissolve Parliament and call an election, I mean, it's almost inconceivable, but it's theoretically possible he could do it. He was very evasive when asked about it on Wednesday. The prospect then arises of the Prime Minister going to the polls, head of the Conservative Party, knowing that the vast majority of his own MPs are against him. It's mind-boggling. The Conservative Party, in other words, is on the verge of tearing itself apart unless they get to grips with this very soon. And they can't really turn around and say, look, it's all gone wrong at the last moment. They knew about Boris Johnson. Everybody has known he's had this approximate relationship with the truth for a long, long time, long before he became a politician, when he was a journalist in Brussels. So for them to say now with all this righteous indignation, it's gone too far. Well, they should have asked themselves that question about him a long time ago.
We'll see how this pans out. It seems there are a lot of moving parts, and it's going to change in the hours and minutes to come. Thank you very much for that, Rob Parsons there.